we go. Friday edition, Mr. Irrelevant, presented by Door County Distillery. I'm Alex Strouf with you from the Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all studios at the Avenue, beautiful downtown Milwaukee. Joshy DiMaggio is here as well as he just threw up the, what do we call it, the rock on sign, Joshy?
Those are hang looses.
Hang looses, yeah. Joshy's throwing up the hang looses.
These are rock ons, brother.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Those are the horns. The horns. Hunter Vaughn, Tiny Hands, back at the Everlight Solar Studio in downtown Madison. Hunter, you want to throw up a hand sign? For whatever reason, I didn't hear him there, but it's okay.
I did not either.
Strange.
Is that better? That was weird.
Yeah, that'll do. What happened?
I don't know. I turned my mic on. Nothing happened. I turned it off and on again, and it was fine.
Okay.
Likely story.
Yeah, Josh, you buy that? I think he messed something up.
0.0%.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, that's fine. I'm telling you what happened.
Hot start on a Friday. Yeah, did you turn it off and turn it on again?
Yeah, and then it worked.
And then it worked. Green Bay Packers, week 6 already. Week 6 in the NFL. Take on the Arizona Cardinals. Packers 3-2, Cardinals 2-3. Lambeau Field Sunday at noon. This is I said this earlier in the week too, but this is a really sneaky good game. Arizona's been in just about every game they've played this year, despite not winning them. And Hunter's back with the Kyler Murray diss, which you just love to see on the video stream. You can barely see Kyler Murray. It's good. It's good. I really think this Arizona offense is going to cause some issues for the Packers defense. However, the Cardinals defense is going to cause some issues for the Cardinals. If Jordan Love can get back to playing pretty clean football, right? Not turning the ball over and doing what we saw him do plenty of last season, the Packers should win this game, but it might be in shootout fashion. This could be a classic 31-21 type game or a 35-27 type game. I think the Packers will lead throughout, but Arizona has some weapons offensively that scare me. And the Packers' run defense has not been great. I mean, they were really good, obviously, against Tennessee, and the pass rush was also really good against Tennessee. 8 sacks, only allowing like 35 rushing yards against the Titans. But outside of that game, this is not a team defensively that you feel great about through 5 weeks, right? This is a team in which there's a ton of improvement to be had defensively, especially when it comes to stopping the run. And when you are facing a team that possesses both Kyler Murray and James Conner, I have a little bit of a fear that those two guys are going to run wild. We will do our underdog picks a bit later, but this might be a higher fest on underdog for Packers Cardinals coming up on Sunday. That's where I sit, right? Like I view it as we're going to have a lot of hires, a lot of yards, a lot of touchdowns, and two defenses that are going to walk away going, we got to clean that up. I have faith in Jeff Halfley, and I have faith in some of these players on the Packers defense. But the situation they're in through 5 weeks is, okay, defensive backs, it seems improved, right? We played dog or puppy on Wednesday. Roof, which I don't know if we'll ever play again. But other than the defensive backfield, I don't know how much confidence you have in the linebacker room. You like what you've seen out of Edgerrin Cooper here in his rookie season. There's been some moments for Quay Walker, but there's also been some moments for Quay Walker where you go, what is he doing? Where is he going? What is he thinking? Right? Like, I feel like there's at least a moment or two every game where I go, the running back went left. Why did Quay go right? There's just so many of those moments with him. But there's also moments where you go, damn, yeah, that made sense. Because he's such a physical specimen. It's just sometimes I feel like his mind plays tricks on him. And you want to get rid of those as the season goes on. And then the defensive line, the guys you're not paying a lot of money to are playing well, right? Devontae Wyatt, Kingsley Enagbare, Lucas Van Ness has had some moments, although it seems like that is not a popular opinion all of a sudden on Lucas Van Ness. I've been impressed with him. There's been some moments where I've gone, wow, he looks really good. But I think there was some stat, which I'm sure Josh knows because he's a frickin' nerd, about LVN that says that spells out he's not as good as maybe I think he is.
Basically, per everyone drafted the same year as him, he is the least productive pass rusher of all the pass rushers drafted.
But is that on a per snap basis, or is that on a overall basis? Because I feel like he's not
a wins
starting.
losses thing.
Oh, okay.
So it is every time. It's measured by how much are you creating versus.
Okay, that didn't make me feel better. I thought I was going to be able to weasel my way out of that one.
I did too until I saw that one because I thought he's been all right.
I feel like he's had some really good moments this year.
I don't know about this year. Last year, he definitely
had some flashes. Yeah.
Yeah. I also watched the Chris Long on his podcast talk about the pass rush. Didn't make me feel a whole lot better.
Who doesn't have a podcast? That's a serious question. Can you name anybody that doesn't have a podcast that's like no longer in the NFL? Because active players, obviously, not all of them have one. But I feel like every retired NFL player has a podcast now.
Yeah, that's just the way to do it now.
Tony Romo doesn't. Des Bryant doesn't. Travis Frederick doesn't. I got 3 of them from my one team.
Travis Frederick.
Okay, but Tony Romo has a weekly broadcast you hear him on, so he's still in media.
Okay, but you said podcast. I am following your rules.
Okay, feisty. Yeah. Relax.
You're way too hot for a Friday.
Relax. Come on, man. We're just trying to coast into the weekend here, talk a little ball.
Trying to chill, brother.
What's going on with you? Hunter, everything all right?
Yeah, everything's fine. I literally follow your rules, and then nope, doesn't count, doesn't count.
It's like the mic thing.
So I don't know if I don't know if everybody knows this, but this show now requires about 800 people to get the show off the ground. So I'm here, Josh is here, Hunter's here, right? Those are the 3 you hear from. We also have our phenomenal intern Will. I'm going to regret calling him phenomenal, but he is a phenomenal intern. Will back in the control room with Joshy. Maddie Hayes, our director of social media for ESPN Wisconsin, is in the room here. They are listening to the show. Will, can you signal to me with a thumbs up or a thumbs down? Thumbs up indicating that Hunter is coming feisty today, or thumbs down being he's just normal today. Thumbs up or thumbs down? Okay, intern Will says Hunter is coming feisty today. Joshy, thumbs up, thumbs down. Hunter is coming feisty. Thumbs up from Joshy. Maddie Hayes, thumbs up from Maddie, and I give a thumbs up. So, unanimous panel here, Hunter. You've come in a little feisty, a little spicy, a little fire Taco Bell sauce here on a Friday. What's going on?
Nothing's going on. I don't know what to tell you.
Okay. You lonely back at the Everlight Solar Studios? Does that have something to do with that?
No, I'm fine. This is just me. No, he's not even here. Josh, it's a Friday. Jesse's not working. Stop it. Come on.
Good point.
Good point.
Good point.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's just what we come to know and expect. Hey, I read something this week, and nobody talked about it on any other shows, but somebody kept texting in, Josh, I don't know if you saw this, to the text line this week in regards to Brian Bulaga tweeted or said on Green Bay Game Day last Sunday, showing up to work makes guys angry. Or not showing up to work makes guys angry in regards to Romeo Doubs. Uh-huh. And there was somebody texting in on the ESPN Milwaukee text line over and over and over again. The same joke, which was a good joke, but nobody used it. You guys must really be angry with Jesse Nelson then. Doesn't show up to work.
I like just repeating it to hope somebody checks the text line.
Yeah. No, I actually like that style. But anyway. All right, not to go too inside. Let's go to Romeo Doubs quick before Ben Brust joins us. Kyle Brust and Nortman, weekdays 2 to 5. This Romeo, I just want to put a bow on it. And we'll probably talk about it a little bit with Benny because it is a fascinating situation. But as more and more information continues to come out, I'm just so taken aback by what the heck went down here. Right? He doesn't show up to practice 2 days in a row last week. So it's a week ago when the story was reported last Friday. Last Saturday, he was suspended. He doesn't come into work 2 days last week. And then all of a sudden, suspended. And then this week, nobody's really talking about it outside of Christian Watson, right? Matt LaFleur kind of declining comment. Jordan Love talking very minimally about his relationship with Romeo Doubs. And it just feels to me like this certainly impacted the locker room in a negative way. I'm not calling Romeo Doubs cancerous. I'm not calling him a bad locker room guy yet. But it certainly seems to me like this had a negative impact on the locker room. And according to Jason Wilde and Rob Domofsky and all of our insiders that you hear across our stations, the guy never talked to the room, which bothered me. Right? You don't get up in front of the room and say, hey, my bad for causing a distraction when we're chasing a Super Bowl. That's problematic to me. That indicates a guy who, A, we already knew was unhappy with his role, but B, doesn't have the gumption or the cojones to walk in front of the room and say, hey, guys, hand up. I screwed up. That's on me. Won't happen again. Let's move forward. Let's go chase this ring. And whether it's a fear of public speaking or He's maybe a pretty mellow guy that doesn't like to get up in front of a room. Those just seem like excuses to me. I would prefer a guy that just goes, hey, that's on me. Let's go chase the Super Bowl as I break things here in the Grubel offices, one call That's All Studios. Yeah, Joshy, go ahead.
I think the important part here is what he's made clear is he doesn't regret it, and he still has those feelings he had last week when he sat out. At this point, if you haven't addressed your teammates or resolved this issue, because Jason Wilde said it unequivocally on Wilde and Tush today, this isn't resolved in the locker room. There are guys who aren't happy about it, and the team hasn't been addressed. So at this point, it seems pretty clear that Romeo Doubs doesn't feel sorry for what happened and is still mad about the way he's being treated in that locker room and on the field.
And I guess the thing we're all in agreement on, I assume, I'm not going to assume, so you feel free to chime in, Joshy and Hunter, but I'm not happy about this.
No.
I don't understand a way this gets solved, but I don't think I want to trade Romeo Doubs either.
No, they're better with him.
Right.
Yes.
So where do we go from here? Is it just Jordan Love is feeding him this weekend and everything's fine, right? He targets him. Benny, who's going to join us in a few minutes, he made me look up after hours and hours of bullying me into it what his career high in targets was. 13 is Romeo Doubs' career high in targets. He's not getting that against the Arizona Cardinals.
He deserves 0. He should be out there pat run blocking.
That's it.
Run some clear out routes.
Benny Brust is in the studio. Just threw his chair into a wall, stood up, and clapped for you, Josh.
He clapped his butt cheeks first.
Well, your mic's on. You can go ahead.
I was going to say, Romeo should just be on the side. That a boy, slap him on the butt. Good job, guys. Be a good teammate. I mean, we haven't seen him be a good teammate. Just be a good teammate. That's all we're looking for right now.
All right. I want to ask Benny about being a good teammate. Coming up next. But first, got to tell you about Door County Distillery. Locally produced, handcrafted, award-winning spirits made locally in beautiful Door County. I say football season's whiskey season. I dove into the bourbon a little bit last night. Had a glass during Thursday Night Football. I love their bourbon, but they've got a 27-time gold medal award-winning single malt whiskey. They've got the rye whiskey. They've got rums. They've got brandies. They've got vodkas. Cherry-infused vodka with local Door County cherries. Can't go wrong. Local, affordable, award-winning, made in Door County, available all over the state of Wisconsin. Get it wherever you get great booze. And you must be 21 years or older to enjoy. We step aside for 60 seconds when we come back. Benny Buckets, baby. Benny Brust from Kyle Brust and Nortman joins us. I'm Mr. Relevant. I'm Alex Strouf. Back in Carlsville at the legendary Door County Distillery with my buddy Rob from Door County Distillery. And we have a Door County Distillery exclusive in front of us right now, Rob. Cherries, bourbon, two of my favorite things. Put them together. You got the Door County Distillery cherry bourbon. It's beautiful. We're just doing shots?
Yeah, we're just
Let's
going to try straight up. I mean, it is good for mixed drinks. You can put it in old fashions, Manhattans, but sometimes you just want to straight up take a little shot of it.
I won't complain about that. Like I said, two of my favorite things. Cherries, bourbon, Door County cherries, bourbon. I can't complain. Yeah. Cheers to you, buddy. Thanks a lot. Prost. Ooh, that's tasty. Oh, that's good.
Yep.
That's really smooth.
Get that cherry flavor. Yep. Not a whole lot of burn. Beautiful.
That's terrific. Door County Distillery exclusive, the cherry bourbon. Check out their website with a huge list of unique cocktail recipes at DoorCountyDistillery.com. That's DoorCountyDistillery.com. Yeah, that huge list of unique cocktail recipes over at DoorCountyDistillery.com. All right, joining us now for the first time in a while. He's mad at me. He bullied his way in. Ben Brust, former Badgers guard, host. What?
I didn't bully you. I know where I'm at in the pecking order of big up-and-coming personality Alex Strouf.
So where are you?
Do the most I can while also focusing on Mr. Irrelevant so I can keep Ben happy and then not invite him on the show until somebody cancels.
All right, so in your defense, I'm going to defend you first.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, let's flip it here.
I'd like to not defend him when you're done.
Yeah, all you, Josh. That's what you're best at. That's why we keep you around. The last two times I've had you on were due to cancellations. That's true.
Yeah, every time.
Not every time, but the last two, yes.
Yeah.
I think this is your fourth appearance on the show, and this is episode what? This is episode 168.
Cool.
I think you have been on... Was that necessary, Josh?
No.
I don't think so.
Joshy, don't you turn on me right now.
So you've been on, I think, 4 or 5 times in the 168 episodes.
That is complete malarkey.
What do you mean?
This is like my third time max being on Mr. Relevant.
Really?
Yes. I don't think I've actually been. Maybe one time I was a scheduled guest. Other than that, I think I've been cancellation, rain check for somebody else. Ben, pop on in.
Well, here's the great part about you though. You're not busy at 12:45. You got nothing better.
12:45 is a
better to
good
do.
time for me. Yes.
You got nothing.
Very open. Very open.
It's a good
Offering services.
So anyway, thank you for being here.
Yeah, happy to.
Josh, if you want to go at him, now's your time.
When you said keep Ben happy, were you talking like in terms of his professional responsibilities?
Oh yeah, you know all about that, Josh.
Yes, I do. But I did want to comment. You didn't mention his actual job, which is producing KVN. You said just keeping Ben happy.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That is his actual job. Isn't that in the job description?
It actually is. Checking in with very, very, very talented talent is part of my job description. Yeah, keeping those egos afloat, Joshy.
Yeah.
You know about that.
Well, he's not doing a good job because I'm free at 12:45 all the time.
All right, once a week, Ben Brust. You heard it here first. You don't want that.
Sounds like he doesn't want it. I don't know. I'm getting on the fact that I'm not welcome here right now. This is very
You're very
uncomfortable.
welcome here. As we discovered, and we are not going to play said lost tapes today, but we will do it soon on Kyle, Brust and Nortman. I interviewed you in 2017. I was a freshman in college. I had you on my podcast, which was called The Bandwagon at the time. My friend Victor Hensley and I. And I listened to the open of said podcast today. It's awful. I can't play it.
See, I'm disappointed.
I can't do it.
Why not?
It's that bad.
But that's what makes things great. When you either want things to be really, really great or really, really bad, like the puppy dog noises you guys made on a different
what'd you
episode,
think about that?
or
On Wednesday.
It was like so good and bad all at once that it worked.
Woof woof.
So on our show that we do that you produce, Kyle, Brust and Nortman, Kyle Wallace goes, "Hur, hur, hur," and he's got a really good bark.
Yeah.
And we all kind of played along with the barking game that you did on Mr. Relevant on our show.
Yep.
Nobody came close to the way that Josh threw a curveball in there with the woof woof. Like, I don't know, it just fit. It fit Josh so much.
He also said Braden Narvison should be Old Yellard.
I like Narv Pop. Kyle Wall says Narv Pop. I like that.
I think Nervous Nelly is the Nervous Narvi.
Nervous
is the way to
Narvi.
go. I did have one additional comment for Ben. Actually, no, Strouf.
Yeah.
You playing your 17-year-old podcast, no one expects it to be good.
Yeah.
So, like, what's there to be? Yeah, of course your podcast was bad when you were 17.
All right, here's what we're going to do. Hunter, back at the Everlight Solar Studio. Hunter, if I send you the link to this, will you play my introduction of Ben Brust? There's a timestamp in the description. You can skip right to it.
Yeah, I can do that.
All right, let me get it over to you. We'll play it before we
Why'd
let
you act
Benny
like
go.
Hunter wasn't going to be able to do that?
I'm just confirming that he has the technical capabilities, was more why I was asking.
Of course I do. Come on.
That's exactly my point, Hunter.
I'm sorry, Hunter.
I mean, do you see the graphics on YouTube at Mr. Irrelevant? The guy doesn't have technology. Like, you got to have good technology to have what it looks like on stream right now.
Did anybody ever skip practice when you remember the Badgers?
Oh, no way, Jose. No way, Jose. Are you kidding? Are you kidding with Bo Ryan? You'd be gone.
Yeah, I was going to say, how would that fly?
You'd be gone. You'd be benched.
What would happen, let's say, if you did it your senior year? Because you were a starter, you were a crucial part of that starting five.
I can't even get myself to think about how I would miss practice.
Overslept.
Nope. 8 alarms. Make sure your phone's plugged in. There's no excuse. You could have been out till 2 a.m. You make sure you have reoccurring alarms. There are too many ways to make sure you are where you're supposed to be in today's world that it is no excuse to miss something that people, coaches, fans, everyone's relying on you to be at.
Ben Brust is told, hey, we think your role is better served for you coming off the bench your senior year. How do you react?
Again, it's hard to play revisionist history because I did everything I was supposed to do in a situation when I was a freshman and sophomore to earn the trust.
For sure.
To be in that spot. So it's hard to play like, well, if I was Romeo Dobbs, in this situation and I am in my third year heading into a contract, this makes zero sense.
It's a crazy move.
Everyone should agree that this makes zero sense on a game that Christian Watson was hurt, after Jordan Love played his first game back and got a little rhythm. Obviously, when Malik Willis was playing, they weren't going to be throwing the ball a ton. You don't have to be a football novice to know that. You'd think a guy in the locker room who's playing wide receiver would understand why they would have a game plan focused on running the football with a backup quarterback that the Tennessee Titans didn't even want. And Malik Willis did a masterful job doing his role.
Totally.
This makes zero sense. Zero. It's on his resume. It's hurting the team. And if you want to get paid, it's not a good way to get in your good graces of the Green Bay Packers front office.
You struggle with that microphone over there?
Kyle does every day, and now I understand why. It's very droopy. Just kind of falls.
I hate that word. Is there a word you hate? Moist?
No. Moist.
Droopy?
I'll say anything.
Droopy?
Droopy.
I think it makes...
It's up there. I mean, it's kind of a weird word when you say it. Because then you, like, when you say the word droopy, you immediately have an image that pops into your head. I don't know what that image is, but you probably get an image.
I get an image, and you know exactly what that image is. Ben Brust, how good has Jordan Love been this year?
He's been mid.
Yeah.
He's been average. He's had some moments where you're like, all right, I know that he's a good quarterback still, but like, he's had a lot of things go against him. He had a game where the turf was bad.
Right.
Then he got hurt.
Yep.
Then he came back, and they're going against a good defense that had a good game plan for him. The offensive line did a great job, actually. Like I think they only sacked him one time, and they led the league in sacks heading into that game. But you can hear what Jordan Love says and say that the knee was not a factor. But there's an element there's an element of anytime you come off of injury, you are testing things out as you play to figure out how comfortable you are doing things. So the professional way to go about it when you're paid that much money is to not make excuses, which I love from him. He said it didn't affect him, but I think we can all agree it likely affected him.
Yes, I agree, and I think it probably still will, even this weekend.
Then the QB's got one of his guys who comes out to California going AWOL. So things have not been set up great for Jordan Love, and it's okay to say he's been average, but also have an optimistic outlook of who he can be the rest of the year.
No, but I think to your point on the word average, this is one of few offenses in the NFL where I think a quarterback can play average and still win football games.
Absolutely.
I don't think you can win a Super Bowl playing average when you're getting paid $55 million a year, but you can be average and beat, who they beat last weekend in the Rams. You can beat the Arizona Cardinals being average.
Mr. Joshy DiMaggio here has been beating the drum every single week about how many explosive plays this Green Bay offense has.
Lead the league.
Over 15 yards plus, they lead the league, Joshy.
Sure do.
I follow you close on Twitter.
What a treat for you.
What a treat for all of us.
Yeah, I actually have his tweet notifications on.
He's funny.
He's a good tweeter. At Josh_DiMaggio. Updated his profile.
He's really full of himself right now.
Yeah, nobody's been riding high quite like Joshy this week.
To be fair, I have been particularly insufferable, but it's been the week of Joshy. I've been vindicated in ways no man thought possible
It's
before.
been the week of Joshy.
So, based off his attitude, I would love for Aaron Rodgers to somehow throw for 400 yards and 3 touchdowns, and somehow the Jets make the playoffs just to see him crawl back in his hole.
Since 2022, Aaron Rodgers has more 3-interception games than 300 yards passing.
Yes! See, I love this, Joshy.
Is that 1-0? Is that
I believe
count?
so.
Yeah, okay. 1-0.
Big stats guy there.
Where did
Big
you get?
sample size.
Is that like the stat of who was it? Jared Goff. He caught more touchdowns than he threw incompletions. Is it just one of those where it's a one-off? It's such a one-off that you have to make a stat out of it.
It's like Daniel Jones threw more passes, more touchdowns to the other team than he did since he signed his contract.
Yeah, it's also because he hasn't thrown 300 yards in a long time. So anytime he does something significant.
Let's be honest. I'm wishing that happens to see how Joshy would react. But anybody who has a brain watching them play football, it's so archaic. I mean, holy cow. He thinks he's throwing to James Jones and Jordy Nelson, and it's Alan Lazard.
Alan Lazard.
Todd Downey's not going to fix it either there for them. Their new play caller.
I mean, Joshy, we talked about it on Monday. Colby Parkinson sounds like an Aaron Rodgers target.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I think the Rams should trade Colby Parkinson to the anyway.
Tyler Conklin is like the biggest Rodgers defender, and it's like that's
because you're getting force fed because like it's just there's
have
nothing
no
open
one.
and they
that's
throw
what he
over the middle.
deserves. That's what Aaron Rodgers deserves at this point.
Here's a 60. Check down Charlie is what Aaron Rodgers is right now.
Yeah, facts.
And the thing is, to make it clear, them making the playoffs isn't really a concern of mine. They can do it 9-8, whatever. the Jets, it's Super Bowl or bust.
It is.
They have
the playoffs
anything
mean
less
something.
is a failure.
No, playoffs mean something
For their fans, but for Aaron Rodgers.
They have the longest drought in the NFL, don't they?
Correct.
A playoff drought? Yeah.
I'm talking about for Aaron Rodgers, though.
Oh,
that's
no doubt.
what he's there for.
No doubt. You're right about that.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, like, again, Peyton Manning won a Super Bowl. It doesn't matter how it looked, but he got
it done.
Yes.
Right. That's a good point, Benny. A couple more things on Packers Cardinals, and then I want to ask you about Bo Ryan, who's going into the Naismith Hall of Fame this weekend. The Cardinals don't scare me in terms of I think they can beat the Packers. They scare me in terms of I think they're going to expose the Packers defense a little bit. Because we started to see some cracks in the foundation for this Packers defense, right? The D-line's been an issue all year outside of that Tennessee game. James Conner, Kyler Murray is a really dynamic backfield. And I feel like we might walk away from Sunday with a win thinking, I don't like how that looked at all.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like, the Cardinals are so sporadic. They'll put together a drive.
Time out. Use of the word sporadic. Where'd you get it from?
Maybe the host of Mr. Irrelevant put it on Twitter at KBN ESPN. Now the word sporadic is on my mind.
As long as it's used more than the word bullish.
I will credit you for the word sporadic. But yes,
thank you. Continue.
The point is Kyler Murray on a scripted drive to start the game. They'll go for 80, 90 yards and be like, this team's legit. And the next thing you know, it looks like Kyler Murray of Cliff Kingsbury, where it's like, holy cow, he's supposed to be an offensive guy and an offensive system, and he's short and can't complete the right passes. And then
that seemed unnecessary.
No, it's true. Being short is definitely a disadvantage in the NFL. How many short quarterbacks are you seeing have success?
Not many. Is Baker short?
He's like 6'1", 6'2".
He did get called a midget.
He's good size.
Whoa.
Do we use that word anymore?
We try not to use that word anymore, Mr. Hunter. Go back to finding the intro for Ben.
I've had the intro. I told Strouf that I have the intro. I thought the issue with that line was the fact that there was also an expletive that was put on the air in front of it as well.
No.
Well, let's just eliminate that from the record.
Yeah, eliminate it from the record. We're in court now with Ben Brust. That's really good.
I've been having some weird Law and Order SVU references.
Yeah, you've been watching that a lot. You actually just have weird references, period. The only one that's actually culturally relevant. The only one that's culturally relevant is Borat. No, you referenced The Parent Trap 2 different times this week. And I don't think people watch that movie.
2 different times, just once.
No, you did it twice.
No, it was the song from the big bands that they played in the scene that they're in the hotel, you know.
Josh, have you seen that movie?
I'm sure it's crossed my path. I don't think I ever sat down to watch it. But you're referencing when you played a song back from break, and Ben treated it like it was a song everyone recognizes. And it's not only an insignificant movie, it's an insignificant scene within that movie.
True. Not true, and then true. Not true, then true.
Hunter, have you seen The Parent Trap?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, what's the scene?
It's the scene where they're all gathering at the hotel and they don't know that, like, they flew their mother in to meet their father who haven't seen each other in 15 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a you know what? Untrue and untrue. Great movie and great scene. Can we move on from The Parent Trap? I didn't think I'd be coming on to be the Parent Trap enthusiast.
Yeah, but you are.
I am.
You know it.
I told you guys. I have older sisters, so of course I'm little Benny sitting on there. Let's watch The Parent Trap.
Is it Parent Trap and Borat 2 favorite movies of all time?
Hell no.
Borat's number 1.
Rush Hour 2 is definitely up there. I would start quoting lines that would make Joshy's skin crawl right now, but I don't want to do that because I'm a guest of a program.
Ben somehow subverted all.
His name is Lee, G, damn it.
Ben subverted all the common culture and created his own. Ben's pop culture from the 90s to 2000s is different than everyone else.
He has so many blind spots.
Yes.
And it's so entertaining to me because he's like an onion, right? You can keep peeling it back and the blind spots just keep
I've worked with him for years. He never once mentioned The Parent Trap. And now he's recognizing it by music.
You have to stay tuned for Kyle, Brust and Nortman to see what onion we're going to peel off later.
All right, 2 things left. We got to hear the intro. We'll get to that in a second. But lastly, on a serious note, obviously, Bo Ryan, your head coach in college, going into the Naismith Hall of Fame this weekend. A, got to be cool to see that, but B, obviously overdue for Bo Ryan.
Yeah, I mean, he's been up for the award many times. He's been a finalist, never really been inducted into the Hall of Fame. Clearly, very happy it happened. His resume speaks for itself for what he was able to do in the state of Wisconsin, University of Wisconsin-Platteville. It's Bo Ryan Court, national championships galore, powerhouse there. Then, again, this takes nothing away from what Dick Bennett did in 2000, but the sustained success that Bo Ryan had, winning a Big Ten championship when nobody had them winning that in his first year is insane. And then the rest is history, right? From the great players to the great moments to finally breaking through to back-to-back Final Fours. I think all the players a part of those two teams still feel like even both years, obviously more 2015 than 14, but that it feels like kind of like the Brewers to me for this year. Like the way the Brewers ended their season this year, it didn't feel like that was how it was supposed to end. And that's how we all feel as players about 14 and 15 because of the way it was set up and because of the way that Aaron Harrison hit the only 3 for Kentucky at the most crucial point of the game with a really good contest in 2024. In 2015, they were up 7 to 9 points in the second half. That team doesn't blow leads. They take care of the ball. They find a way. They do all the right things. You can say it's refs. You can say it's Grayson Allen. It happened, and it wasn't supposed to happen that way. Both years, it wasn't supposed to happen that way. One of those years should have had a national championship to a banner and to the name of Bo Ryan and all the players associated with the program.
Is it crazy that was over 10 years already? 10 years ago, over 10 years ago, you played.
Yeah, this will be, I think, my 11th year. Was this 20? What year?
It'll be 25 when the
25.
tournament
Yeah, 11 years now of this is the 10-year anniversary this coming year of the 2015 Final Four. Honestly, no. I mean, at this point, from a personal standpoint, we're all very close. All the players are very close, and now that we're at the age where everyone's already married or has kids, like it's that like we're now losers. That like we're sending Instagram stories about how when we watch our kids for 2 hours that we feel like we deserve a gold star and a day off. Like that's what we're talking about now. That's awesome, right?
How do daddy-daughter weekends work for you and your daughter? Are you good at them yet?
I'm great at them, but like when I have to do the full Saturday and Sunday, I feel like I've worked a 52-week year of work at Good Karma Brands. Like I feel as if I'm good. Don't need to watch the daughter again.
Bro, when she starts walking.
She's the crawling. Thank goodness I created a little playpen so she can't get like further than me having to chase her, so I can watch some stuff on TV and then throw a random toy in there that she'll get like excited to play with so I can keep her entertained.
It's like a puppy. He throws a toy at her.
Hey, no. No, she's not like that.
It's a little bit what you're describing.
That.
At the point your child's at right now, it is obviously it's much different.
Wait a minute, I can't get over the visual in my head.
Me on the couch,
of like a dog in the backyard that's fenced in, running to chase the tennis ball.
It's a little bit similar. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Look, 0 to 6 months were great. They got to be in your arms. You just hold them and watch TV and football and basketball. And you're like, this is great. But when she went mobile, I was like, damn, I got to figure something out. Put her in the cage.
He said exactly what I was going to say. For those first few months, it's not all that different because it's just managing. Keep a schedule. That's it.
Eat, poop, sleep. All right, you got to go to take a nap. Great.
Yeah.
Gonna go back to watch football. You're up. We can watch together.
Yeah.
Now she won't sit on my lap and watch it.
Oh no, brutal.
We'll get there. I'll train her up.
Yeah, you will. You will indeed. All right, it's the grand reveal time.
I've got one question.
Yeah, go ahead.
What is the first sport
it's just Joshy's program now.
Get your daughter involved in?
I mean, I'm going to be the classic parent of like, you ready to try soccer? I think here in the USA, we don't care about soccer, but for some reason we force every kid to play soccer.
I think you need golf club in hand ASAP.
Well, actually, it's a good point. One of my buddies who's an avid golfer, it's a really sweet thing. He's like a golf nut. He sends a kid toy golf set to all of his buddies who have kids. So I'll break that out when she's able to stand and swing a club and break stuff around the house.
Oh, just swinging for the vases. Can't wait for it.
Yeah.
You have any expensive vases?
I don't think we have a vase. We probably have a vase.
I would gather.
We have a vase.
No,
Josh knows my fiance. We got a vase.
He went from, I don't think we have a vase, too. We might have a vase, too. Oh, yeah, we have a vase. Yeah. You're the best. All right, here we go. 7 years ago, Ben Brust joined the Bandwagon podcast.
We are joined now by probably the guest I've been the most excited for, just because I watched him play all 4 years that he was at Wisconsin. His name is Ben Brust. He was part of that phenomenal Final Four team a couple of years ago. Great guard, and he hit one of the best shots in Wisconsin history. We'll get into all that. But ladies and gentlemen, Ben Brust joining us today. Ben, thanks for joining us today on the Bandwagon.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Listen to how unamused he was there.
I mean, you were so worried about hitting your intro. It didn't have any energy. One hit one of the greatest shots of all time, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen,
hear you now. You're you're having fun with me. Oh, I didn't invite you to the podcast or Mr. Irrelevant. It's just you have more
but how
personality.
How times have changed though. 7 years ago, I was kissing his ass, and here we are 7 years later, and he's
I'm trying
"What
to
the
get
hell, man?
I want you to kiss my ass more.
What the
Go
hell?"
Back 7 years ago and. I love a good kiss ass.
It sure does.
Because I am one.
As I say, no one smooches cheeks like Benny, so.
Whoa, Joshy.
I mean, it's true. And you know it.
I'm a good cheek smoocher.
That wasn't as bad as I expected. It wasn't clean, but for a 17-year-old, also, your voice just hasn't changed.
Not at all.
I was a freshman in college in that one, yeah.
Yep. You sounded like you were ready to do radio commercials at 16.
Thanks. All right, Ben Brust.
That's it?
Here from Kyle, Brust and Nortman.
Fun.
Do you want to stay?
I gotta go away so you can stick around.
No, I'm good.
All right, see you guys.
Joshy's my safe space, even though he's here to rip on
Joshy,
me.
before you run away, you like anything on Underdog?
Go back to
Does
Dontavian
Josh
Wicks.
like anything on Underdog?
It's a good point.
Dontavian Wicks.
Higher?
Overs.
Hires.
Sorry, Underdog. Love you.
All right. We'll mix that in. Thanks to Ben Brust. Thanks to Joshy DiMaggio.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ben Brust, everybody.
All right, everybody's leaving us. I don't know what the hell Josh has to do, but apparently he's leaving early. Hunter, it's down to just me and you. Everybody's sick of us.
Yeah, that's pretty typical, though. So I'm kind of used to it.
Just back to the OG, Mr. Irrelevant. What'd you make of my Ben Brust introduction?
I mean, it was 20 seconds long. You hadn't mastered brevity yet, so gotta just get to the guest. That's why people are tuning in.
That's a fair point. My bad. All right.
That stupid 17-year-old.
I got to listen back to that. But that's where the game One Word, which we play on Wednesdays, that's where it originated. Me and Ben Brust played an edition of One Word in that episode. And the Badgers were not good that year. So I don't think it was a pretty one. But anyway. All right, points. You heard Josh say higher. You heard him say over. I like all of the above on Sunday in Packers Cardinals. I think this game is just going to bring juice offensively. Kyler Murray scares me a little bit. I think I'm starting to come to that realization. He's not as bad as everybody thinks he is, Hunter, right? I think Kyler Murray's a really good, not really good, but he's a good NFL quarterback. He's not bad. And he's having a little bit of a rejuvenation here this year. Obviously, Maserati Marv's on that offense now, so that helps. Trey McBride has kind of emerged as a top tight end in the league. This is a team that all of a sudden I go, they might have an offense that can cook a little bit.
It's just he's so inconsistent, like Josh was saying. It'd be one thing if they were constantly driving the field on teams, or they led the league in big plays, and you just knew, okay, eventually they're going to get a couple of 30-plus yard touchdowns or something like that. But they'll have a quarter where you're like, oh, okay, here it is, and then they're going to take a couple quarters off. So then teams stick around in games when they really shouldn't be, given their talent level, and if they put it together for a whole game, suddenly the Packers could be in a lot of trouble, because as great as the secondary is for the Packers, the rest of the defense has struggled with consistency. So I think that's where it makes this game scary if you're a Packers fan, because you don't know what you're going to get from a really crucial part of stopping this Cardinals offense.
Yeah, no, I'm totally with you. And I'm not nervous necessarily. I'm intrigued to see how the Packers can slow down the Cardinals offense, because admittedly, If the Packers slow down the Cardinals' offense, I will legitimately be surprised and walk away from that game feeling really good about where the Packers' defense is. Because if they're able to hold them to, let's just use last week as the example. They held the Rams to 19, but really the defense held them to 12. If they're able to do that again against a team like Arizona, all of a sudden you're rolling into Lambeau next week to host the Houston Texans, who are a very high-powered offense and pose similar threats at a greater amount than the Cardinals in the Houston Texans, right? Because you have C.J. Stroud, who's mobile and can really sling the rock. You've got Joe Mixon, who will likely be back healthy next week in Lambeau. And then you run down the list, right? Nico Collins, who I know is dealing with an injury, but Stephon Diggs, Dalton Schultz. Like, you've got all sorts of names on that Texans offense that can wreck a game, even more so than the Cardinals. But if the Packers are able to hold them to 14 points, 17 points, you're going to walk away feeling really good. I just don't think that's how that's going to play out this weekend. I truly believe this will be a team that can come into Lambeau and put up points. But I think the Packers are playing a bad defense, so that will play into their hand, and they can outscore. Because it's a really good Packers offense, too, with a ton of weapons. Maybe Romeo Doubs does make an impact in his return. Benny saying, hey, just throw him out there for run blocking, which would kind of be funny and amusing, given the situation at hand in Green Bay. But nonetheless, I think we're getting points. 47.5. Choose wisely. And when you choose wisely on the Underdog app, UnderdogFantasy.com. Use promo code GoodKarma at sign up for up to $1,000 deposit match and a free pick. And in the month of October, Underdog is giving out special tokens, profit boost tokens, each and every day. 31% profit boost yesterday. I put in a 2-pick entry and turned $27 into $97 last night. Had a Ken Walker touchdown and had higher on Brock Purdy yards, which barely squeaked in at the very end of the Thursday night game. But Joshy said he likes the higher on Brock Purdy. That line moved up just a bit, but it still hit. Brock Purdy higher, Kenneth Walker higher than half a touchdown. Turned $27 into $97 last night on the Underdog app. You can win up to 1,000 times your money, your entry fee, on the Underdog app in an 8-pick entry. But you can go anywhere between a 2-pick entry and an 8-pick entry on the Underdog app. We've been winning. We're going to continue that winning this weekend on the Underdog app. Use promo code GoodKarma, GOODKARMA, GoodKarma at sign up on UnderdogFantasy.com or the Underdog app. Up to $1,000 deposit match and a free pick. It's time to take a look at what I like this weekend in the Packers and Cardinals game on UnderdogFantasy.com. It's this easy, right? And this is why we show it to you on the screen, too, because A, we're confident we're going to win, and B, it's this easy. It takes 20 seconds to get in the action for Sunday's game. So I mentioned I like the hires here this weekend. I like the hires all around. So Kyler Murray higher than 248.5 pass plus rush yards. I like that. Jordan Love higher than 2 passing touchdowns. And the tricky part is I can no longer pick, or you can't pick a receiver to score a touchdown if you have Jordan Love higher than a touchdown. So let's go higher on Dontavian Wicks, like Joshy suggested. His yards is not available right now. So let's go to our other guy, Jaden Reed, higher, 48.5. Actually, I like this better. 23.5 as the longest reception. So let's go with those three right there. And that's 4.32 times their entry. So $10 wins you 43 on this one. Jordan Love higher than 2 passing touchdowns. Kyler Murray higher than 248.5 pass and rush yards. And Jaden Reed higher in terms of a longest reception of 23.5 yards. $10 wins you 43.20. We'll pop that right in there. And just like that, we are in the game on UnderdogFantasy.com. We will throw that out on Twitter as well, at Alex_Strouf. But that's my entry for Packers Cardinals on Sunday. I feel good about that. Jaden Reed with another deep bomb. I do want to get to what we learned, but I do want to mention something that Jordan Love said on Wednesday, Hunter, and I'm not sure if you saw this, but Jason Wilde set it up to Jordan phenomenally on Wednesday. He was asking him about the throw to Jaden Reed really early in that game last Sunday against the Rams, where I think it was 63 yards in the air the football was, and it led to that first touchdown for the Packers in the first quarter. Love threw that with the flick of a wrist into triple coverage, and somehow Reed came down with it. Like, it was a really good throw, but it was a really risky throw into triple coverage. Reed adjusts, and like the superstar he is, he comes down with it. So Wilde asked him, just out of curiosity, how does the quarterback's coach, Tom Clements, how does he grade a throw like that? Because it's really risky to throw it like that into triple coverage, but it turned out to be an amazing moment, right? Like, it turned out to be an amazing play, but how does that get graded? And Jordan responded, yeah, he gave it a 0 in terms of decision-making. Like, that was a bad decision. And then they followed up and asked him if he would make that throw again, and he said, no, I would make that throw again. So, as risky as it was, it paid off, but Love says he would not make that throw again. Number one, I don't believe him. I think he would make that throw again. But number two, I love the openness and the fact that such a great play, and that's the fun things about what goes on inside NFL coaches' heads and NFL locker rooms, how you grade stuff like that. That was a 0 in terms of decision-making, but it was like a 65-yard gain right off the rip there in the first quarter. I don't know if you saw that, Hunter, but curious on any reaction you have.
I didn't see that, but I'm not surprised at all. Like, that was absolutely a 0 throw. But those 0 graded throws are the things that made Brett Favre and they make Patrick Mahomes great. Tom Brady did it. Like, sometimes you just got to say, F it. My guy's there and I trust him. And that's what Jaden Reed has become known for. When he was in college, he said that, and it's the same thing here. Like, there's just certain moments in a game where you've just got to try and trust your guy and trust the receiver that maybe if the DB is going to get there, he can play defense on it and knock it down instead of it being an interception. Jordan Love's going to keep making that throw, or he's going to keep attempting that throw. I don't know how often he'll convert on it, but like, you have to keep trying it because you can't let the defense just assume, oh, he's 30 yards downfield, they won't throw it to him at all. You've got to keep testing him.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. And I view this weekend as a great weekend to continue to test them. Because you're not playing a very good defense, right? Like, Arizona has kind of a sexy offense. I know we talked about this in the offseason because I think the Cardinals were top of the list of teams that intrigued me. I think I listed them as a playoff team for me, but defensively they really don't have a whole hell of a lot, right? You know, their defensive backfield isn't half bad. Obviously, Budda Baker's their free safety. Sean Murphy Bunting is one of their corners. They've got some decent star power.
I was just going to ask you to do the same thing we did with the Broncos and try and name people on their defense other than Budda Baker, because it would have been the same thing for me.
Yeah, well, we've had to do that a couple times this year, right? Because the Colts, right, outside of DeForest Buckner, how many can you name? I know we played it there. The Titans, good luck.
Yeah,
the Titans are hot garbage, both sides of the ball. And then obviously Minnesota's pretty good. They're really good defensively. Philadelphia's good defensively. But the Rams have some pieces, but nothing that scares you terribly bad. Yeah, the Cardinals are one of those teams where it's like, okay, you know Budda Baker. Who else do you know? Murphy Bunting would be the first name, and then after that, yeah.
I literally don't know any of these guys. I'm looking at the roster, and I'm like, I think I've taken like Bly Nichols in Madden before on like a fantasy draft, and he's a D end. Other than that, I'm like, I don't know any of these guys at all.
Yeah, I remember Mac Wilson at Alabama. I think he had a big play in like the Iron Bowl one year, but I don't know anything about his NFL career, which he is now in year 5. So that tells you how much you know about the Arizona Cardinals defense, which isn't very good. All right, let's wrap up the week. Let's wrap up Friday's show of Mr. Relevant, presented by Door County Distillery. With what we learned, you learn something new every day. We learned something new today. It's time now for What We Learned. Hunter, go ahead.
I don't know if you saw this on, I think we maybe talked about it, but during the Cowboys-Steelers game, CeeDee Lamb, after Dak Prescott threw an interception, he was seen saying something to Dak on the sideline, and of course, because it's the Cowboys, everyone has to try and interpret it. CeeDee had his media availability the other day, and he finally was able to actually answer it, and it's what I said, that it was no big deal. So here's the video of that.
I don't even think people know what I said.
What did you say?
Jump ball, fool.
Yeah,
I was like, jump ball. Yeah, jump balls, fool. He threw a back shoulder.
Right.
And then obviously I had the height advantage on the guy who got the pick, so I was like, throw it up. You know what I'm saying? And he understood it. And the message got through, but all that other stuff, that's kind of out the window to me. You know what I'm saying? The media is going to do what the media does. People are going to have their own opinion. Again, Me and Dak ain't got no beef, man. That's my locker mate. I don't know what they talking about, but I'm not worried about it.
Right.
This was the same thing all the time with Des Bryant and Tony Romo. Like, they did this all the time, but because they got the star on their helmet, everybody's got to say, oh, it's a diva wide receiver. He's yelling at his quarterback. Every team does this, and I just wanted to make sure that video got out there, that there isn't drama going on between Dak and CD in Dallas. There's no problems. That's how they communicate. They've been doing that since CD was a rookie. That's just how it is for them. So that's what I learned, that people need to stop trying to lip read unless you're John Boy Media. Stop doing it, because he's the only one that I've seen that actually does it well.
Trustworthy source. Yeah, what I learned is people just hate Jesse Winker in the city of Milwaukee. I went and paid a visit, and you can find this video on social media at ESPN Milwaukee, at Strouf ESPN on TikTok and Instagram. I went over to Broken Bat Brewery, a local brewery here in Milwaukee, baseball-themed brewery, and they offered $1.99 pints yesterday for Jesse Winker's batting average in Milwaukee. And boy, talking to Brewers fans and baseball fans alike, Jesse Winker might be the new most hated opposing player of the Brewers. It was Manny Machado for a long time. I think Jesse Winker has officially taken Manny Machado's crown, and Hunter might be the first person on the bandwagon. He might be in the very front seat of people that hate Jesse Winker. Winker obviously underdelivered in his year in Milwaukee, was put on the playoff roster, went 0 for 2 in a crucial game that ultimately ended the Brewers season, including a strikeout to end the Brewers season, and Hunter let him hear it. We talked about it a ton on this show now over a year ago, and here we are a year later, and Jesse Winker extra hated, extra spicy Hunter hated by Brewers fans, and plenty of them out celebrating with $1.99 pints yesterday.
I'm just a trendsetter, so I mean, I don't know what to say about that. But then too, it's not just Broken Bat doing that. I saw the Milwaukee Panthers are doing $1.99 general admission tickets to kick off their season.
Nooks as well.
Yep. Yeah, so everybody jumping on the $1.99 train, and I love it. I think more people need to understand how terrible he was and how much of a bum he was, and the fact that he only saw 6 pitches and 2 at-bats in the playoffs. The only time that I think any normal person can say, yeah, I could do the same exact thing as a professional athlete, because all I have to do is stand there for an at-bat, and maybe I get lucky and see a ball, and then I would even be better than Jesse Winker. So he's a bum. God, I hate that man so much. Even just talking about him now, like, I'm getting fired up again.
That's fair. Yeah, he's a dork. He's a dweeb. He's all the in-betweens. One more thing to follow up from Joshy's what we learned on Wednesday. Obviously, Hurricane Milton hitting Florida. And we talked about the social, I don't want to call him a superstar, but the social machine that is the man nicknamed Lieutenant Dan, who survived the hurricane. So he's good. He's alive and well. No damage. In his 20-foot sailboat on the coast of Tampa. He was texting national news outlets throughout. Like, he's saying, yes, I'm good. At one point, quoted as saying, I haven't even spilled my coffee yet during Hurricane Milton, but Lieutenant Dan is okay. So to follow up from Joshy's what we learned on Wednesday. All right, just to recap. Benny Brust, not a good multitasker. and plays fetch with his daughter. Good stuff there. But Bo Ryan set to go into the Naismith Hall of Fame this weekend. Well deserved by him. Now we got to turn our attentions to, and I heard Jason Wilde say this yesterday, Dick Bennett, the former Wisconsin coach, brought them to the Final Four in 2000, brought my beloved Pointers to the NAIA National Championship game during his short tenure there in Stevens Point. He's a great coach, and obviously back-to-back, if not 3 in a row, NCAA tournaments, first 3 ever for UW Green Bay. He's a huge part of basketball in the state. So that's the campaign we got to start next for the Naismith Hall of Fame. On Underdog, higher 248.5 pass and rush yards for Kyler Murray. Higher 2 touchdowns for Jordan Love. Higher 23.5 yards for the longest reception for Jaden Reed. $10 wins you 43. $20 wins you 86 on Underdog. Use promo code Good Karma. That will do it for us today. We're back with you Monday to recap Packers Cardinals. Hunter, who do the Badgers play this weekend? Rutgers?
Yeah, they're out in Piscataway. 2.5-point dogs.
Really?
Yeah, Rutgers is good. Like, this is going to be a dogfight for the Badgers to win.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, Greg Schiano's got the Scarlet Knights rolling again. Don't like it.
What you got the Badgers or you got Rutgers? You always pick the Badgers.
Yeah, I have to pick the Badgers, otherwise I get cyberbullied. So, yeah, I'm picking the Badgers.
Otherwise, they call you fat on the internet, as you told us a few weeks ago. Well, Hunter, I hope you're right. I'm not feeling great about it, but we will see between Wisconsin and Rutgers Saturday. That is tomorrow. And then Packers Cardinals at Lambeau Field on Sunday. Green Bay game day. Get you set beginning at 9 a.m. on Sunday. If you're watching on YouTube, you can find it here. You can also find it 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee, 100.5 ESPN Madison, 620 WTMJ. We're going to shake it up a little bit this week. Our guy Steve Scafidi from WTMJ will join us during the 9 o'clock hour. Us being me and Super Bowl champion Jarrett Bush. Jason Wilde will join us during the 10 o'clock hour, and we will rattle through the history books of Cardinals-Packers. I don't think people realize how much history there is between the Cardinals and the Packers. Aaron Rodgers' first playoff start was against the Arizona Cardinals, that wild overtime game, the Jeff Janis game. We all remember that one. How about in 2003, the Vikings and Cardinals? The Cardinals beat the Vikings in the final week of the season to send the Packers to the playoffs. There's so much history between the Packers and the Cardinals. So we'll dive through that in the 11 o'clock hour of Green Bay game day coming up on Sunday, live just outside of Lambeau Field. Hope you can hang out for us and get set for the game with that. That does it for us today on Mr. Irrelevant. Back with you Monday beginning at 12:30 on the ESPN Madison, ESPN Milwaukee YouTube feeds, on the ESPN Madison Facebook page, available wherever you get your podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Wisconsin On Demand, and all the in-betweens. Thanks to Benny Brust, thanks to Joshy, and even bigger thanks to Hunter Vaughn because he actually stuck around for the full show. I'm Alex Strouf. We'll talk to you Monday. Peace.